Good evening, everyone. I'm Rita Bacuzzi, also known as Mama Rita Money, and I'm here today with Kristen Rivas.
Hi again.
I want to say welcome to all of you. And really, I'm so super excited about tonight because you and I got to experience something together from two different perspectives. And we're going to get to share tonight because really it's about what happens when you get a room full. It happened to be a room full of women together that were spanning generations from the 20s, I'm going to say from mid 20s to the mid 70s. Every decade was represented. And I think just to have the wisdom of each decade there, I'm going to say the refreshed and the renewed to the fine vintage. I just want to share just for a couple minutes about what that was like for myself, and really how what was happening is that we all got together to have connected conversations around money.
Mm-hmm.
How can we connect this? How can we invite change into the world and really be open, vulnerable, authentic, share our beliefs, our fears, our regrets? All that was brought to the surface, which was super amazing. And at the end, a transformation to create true empowerment, literally at the end of that time frame, to shift people's lives, and words were life-changing, so that they could stand as source for themselves, to be better for themselves in the world, and also to create a better world. And that is so exciting for me. I know it was exciting for you, Kristen, because you just shared so much excitement around that. And we all get to flourish together. Like from that point, it's like we have now been connected in a way that we'll never be able to break apart. And we bonded together around money discussions, to break the bondage that money has been having on us for generations. And it's been keeping all of us from financial freedom. So this weekend, I think today I want to share about this weekend, because when I look back at what happened and what we got to create and what still the outpouring of outcome of results have happened is just nothing short of like miraculous, really. To see rapid transformation like that.
Right. I'm still riding the high of it all.
That's awesome. So I'm going to say, as our I'm going to say most innovative, youthful perspective, what was your like overview? And then we'll get into details and things. But I mean, I'm going to say going in, I wasn't sure really what to expect.
Oh, me neither.
Right?
Me neither.
Not knowing what to expect, just knowing that the platform was really about how do we change our mindset around our relationship with money, and intertwine how we as women do money emotionally.
And that's what I loved, though.
Yeah.
I mean, continue. I'll get into why I loved it. But
no, go ahead.
I just think that, I mean, back to your point of, I didn't know what to expect as an attendee. And actually hearing that you didn't even know what to expect as like the host I just love hearing that, because it's so honest. And I would have never guessed that you had no idea what to expect. But I went with an open mind. And I think that's what made it so powerful and impactful and life-changing, because, and you say it so well every single time, that if you are like ready and committed to make change, then like change will come, like change will happen. And I really do think that like the group of women that were in there were so open and so ready and so vulnerable and so just supportive. And I think that that's emotion, like, like those feelings, and that just like feminine touch to money, I think is so important, because we live in a world where it's just so cold in relation to money, where we don't think too deeply about it. We think about it as this thing that can get us other things, or this thing that we should save, or this thing that we need to like use to live. But we don't think about it as an energy. We don't think about it as a relationship, like we don't think about it in these new ways. And I felt like the way that you just laid out that foundation, and like the way that you painted this completely new picture, was the thing that completely changed me, because I was just operating in a world that told me to operate this way in relation to money, and I never even bothered to think about it differently. And that's why it was so important to just kind of have that glass ceiling be broke, or just like that blindfold taken off. And like, I just feel like a completely different person, like 100% not the same person I was before I went in. Yeah.
That is so awesome. And that's what I'm going to say is, not knowing what to expect is, everybody is different and we're at different places in life. And so what's super cool is that we get to transform right where we are, wherever we are.
Yeah.
In our own ways. I think what surprised me is some of the things like what you're saying, that this was actually, here we are having mindset conversations around money, and then we're learning skill set around money. Because something that I've learned in my life and life trainings that I've had in learning about leadership is, it's about 99%, 99.9%, whatever you want to say, intention.
Right.
And so the intention of everybody was to create change for themselves, running up against roadblock, like you said, not realizing that the status quo of what's out there has not been working.
Right.
Straight up, it has not been working for them specifically. And we got to have these real conversations that really connected us, where what was, I think, most amazing for me as you, as part of the younger generation of the group, and the fine vintage wisdom, I'm going to say long-standing wisdom of the women in the group that were more, I'm going to say, they get I think that as we get older, I'm just going to say the word, we get to be refined, and if we choose, because not everybody's that way. So I say that, but for the women in the room, when I say that they were of the best vintage, to share and to connect and to really want to be able to support the next generation. They aren't doing it for themselves. They were showing up there to create the change for others. They know that comes through themselves, because they're wise, and they realize this after many years, and realizing that we can't do things the old ways and expect different results. We get to create a change. It just hasn't been able to be found, or how, or why. So then we get to figure out what are our expectations around this all, so that this way we can manage them.
Right.
And, and I know we've heard it, and the cliches, aim for the moon and hit the stars. And that's awesome, because we should. And we get to have both. It's not one or the other. We can have both.
Yeah.
And what are the systems and processes that have been being done well, and really hit them in an order that helps layer the support. And then we actually, as the community, are coming in as the village and supporting one another.
Yeah.
And the focus was money. And what was really cool is, though that was the focus, the intention was the relationship.
Yeah. And that was that's the thing that was so, I don't even know what word to use. I just think it was just so important, because when people talk about like their own personal growth, the only way to grow is first to heal. And so I felt like that was so necessary in order to improve our relationship to our money, and the way that we think about it and feel about it, and how we want that relationship to just prosper and like improve over time, regardless of your age. Like, I felt like every single woman in that room looked hopeful every single day,
Yeah.
regardless of where they were starting with or what, you know, where they are now and like whatnot. I just think that there was so many breakthroughs, but the breakthroughs were only possible because of the mind shift and like addressing that like healing needs to happen first.
Yeah. And that, you know, I love that you said that, the healing. And I think as the host, I'm going to say, of course, the intention is to heal at the core without realizing that in the
Right.
subconscious of it. But to see the transformation of all of us in the room, no matter who we were, that's what we learned, whether you're the coach or you're the player or you're the teammate in observation, we all play this equal role to support one another. And that's what I got to see. That was, I think, the most beautiful experience ever, is as we come together, it's possible. It's possible for us to have these healing conversations,
Right.
and then these healing transformations where, you know, right away as we're checking in with our minds, and I said it like this, and hopefully I can still say it, but you know, you're either in mind shit or you're in mind shift.
I loved when you said that. I did. I was like, wow, that's so true.
and it's so true for life. And this is actually like for our viewers or people that get to see this, is it's really possible, no matter where you are, for what relationship you're in, but the most important relationship is with yourself, of course. And as we can move through these mind shifts, that's where breakthrough happens, and we get to have maybe small breakthroughs to bigger breakthroughs, and we can actually have them faster and faster and faster.
Right.
And that's what we were at. Literally, it was almost like popcorn happening during the whole weekend, right? One person popped, had an aha, then there was another moment, and as one was having a moment sharing their perspective, another person popped, and literally transforming one another. I'm going to say, me as the facilitator, how awesome that was, right?
It was crazy to see. Like, it was just so like, it was like, I don't like, it honestly felt like a retreat. Like I just felt like there was so much like, oh, I just think for one, and it's even crazier because like we're over Zoom, right? Like you think, like, imagine how much more intense it would have felt in a room together, but just being in a Zoom together, like I could feel everything.
We could feel everything.
That powerful, especially like people cried, like I cried, like, you know, it was just like so moving. And I think like another thing that people, or at least I know I speak for myself, especially when I say this, is I didn't realize how much emotion I had already attached to money and how much I believed my money was a reflection of me and like my worth. And, you know, how I value myself and the things that I have, and how much weight actually was associated with like my finances. Because I think it's also something that we try not to pay attention to. And I think that came up a lot too in conversation, where it's just like, I shied away from it because like I didn't want to deal with it, or like I didn't feel confident about it. So I didn't try to learn or teach it. And so I just think like recognizing where like that pain or like that insecurity or just like whatever it is lived within us in relation to our money was just like really eye-opening for every single person.
Yeah, absolutely. Including me, me. So that what we were seeing is, no matter what age you are, we were experiencing the same emotions around this one common topic and our relationship with it, based on all different backgrounds, all different, and when I mean that, like backgrounds are histories, where we grew up, were we born in America, were we born in another country, and how those stories got carried forward. And then I think as we grow older, that sometimes it feels like all these weights, we talked about the movie The Parent Trap, and it kind of feels like somebody that was sabotaging us by putting rocks in our backpack in that famous scene where they're
That was a good
rocks in the backpack, and we feel like we're that person. The backpack is getting heavier, the rocks are getting heavier, and literally we're the only ones that can take off the backpack, take the rocks out. And when we do that, we obviously lighten our load. And I think this weekend what we got to do is we got to unload the backpack of the rocks until we got to the end, and that I'm going to say we're transformed. Now, do we know everything about finances at the end of it? No. Do I know everything about finances that I've been doing it all my life, like most of my life? No, I don't. Because it's always about learning and growing, and there's always shift. And then when we embrace this shift and we have a positive, confident, worthy, we are enough relationship, that's where growth happens. Because guess what? The backpack is now empty. You're carrying it, it's light, it's ready to be filled with what you choose, because now you know, because you're not aligned, you're aligned with your own core values.
Right.
And I found that was really the biggest piece, that for most women, we miss this alignment with our core values. And what happens is our core values becomes our compass, right? It becomes our boundaries, our gauge to where are we going to go and how do we course correct? And if we can simply go back to those values, which I'm going to say is beautiful, because I've learned this over and over again from Dr. DeMartini, from Dr. Betty Uribe, and these amazing individuals that teach about values. And you can look them up, or message me, audience, if you want to know more. Because by the time we were done with the boot camp, we went through probably about 25 books without having had to read them, but understand the concepts to a point of being already able to take action before we left the room. Right? Yeah. People were doing things like becoming accountability partners for each other, so that they could support each other with the work of building an awesome relationship with themselves, their accountability partner, around money discussions, so that this way money is no longer the leader in the whole point of it, the relationship of it. Right. You are leading it. I think that was probably the most phenomenal takeaways. So I know we're talking about this. So why for your generation do you think this information, the mindset, the money skills, or what pieces of it, why do you think this is really important for them to learn in this way, in the way that you just learned it this weekend? And how is it different from the past?
I just think that it's, for one, how I felt about it was, thank God I'm learning this now. And I feel like I say that in relation to a lot of just like self-healing that I've done, because I recognize that like a lot of people don't have these breakthroughs until later on in life. And so when I have any type of personal breakthrough and I recognize that's something I don't want to take with me into like the next however many years of my life, I'm like so glad that I'm learning it in my mid-20s. Learning what I learned this weekend, and just being in a room full of women where like you did see the regret, and you did see, like how they would say like, if only I learned this when I was your age, or, just I felt like I was blessed with the opportunity to be able to unlearn everything that I had learned for the past like however many years that I've actually paid attention to money. But also like be able to take this with me into my future, and then not only with me, but with my friends, like with my peers, like with my future, children, like my younger siblings, like anyone younger than me. The day that we ended the boot camp, it was one of my cousin's birthdays, and she just turned 11. And I could not wait to like text my aunt and be like, you need to start a TFIA for her. Like, you need to do this, because you just feel like, oh my God, I have this knowledge, and like, she is the age, like there is time, like we can change things. It can be so different. And that's why I just think that like people of the younger generation, like it really is important to first change your mindset. Also to just kind of like you said, align your values. I think people chase money in a very dirty kind of way at my age. And I don't think that's their fault. I think that we are just subject to so much I don't even want to just say media. I think, you could be subject to your family members' beliefs of like what money is and why you should have it. And just like, I don't think all associations with money are dirty and like wrong at my age, but I think there's so much vanity associated with money. And I think that clouds our judgment when it comes to our relationship with money. Because if I just wanted to date any guy because he looked handsome, but I didn't care about like how we actually treat each other, or how he treats me at the end of the day, or how I treat him, but I just wanted him for his looks, like that's not a healthy or sustainable relationship. Yeah. And I think that's how a lot of people my age chase money. And so I think that's why it's important to kind of really like align with their values and like center themselves in this understanding, and then use that understanding to guide them with the then tactics that they can like learn about, and like use to their advantage. And so I don't know. I just think like I literally left the boot camp and I was like, you guys, like we're gonna retire with $1 million if we do it right.
So I love your excitement. I love everything that you're articulating and the analogy, it's so true. So the opportunities, we say the need because we know that we can see the change, and so we need to change. In reality, we get to change. So now we're getting the opportunities to create the change, not at the mercy of direction that somebody else is telling us what to do.
Right.
That we have been taught. Not only have we been taught, we have ingrained and connected the why to the need, possibility of the opportunity, the fact that we are the leaders. I think one of the most beautiful things that one of the women stated to me was, I didn't realize that I was the boss.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that I was the leader of my financial person. I didn't know I was the leader of all the people that are part of my life that I've been saying, oh, I hope, I'm not wasting their time and feeling unworthy. No, we are equally worthy, no matter who we are and where we're at in our life. And that when it comes to our money, we are the boss of it and we get to direct it. And we get to take ownership and leadership of that. And I learned from a dear friend of mine, Kevin Ross, that leadership is taken. It's not given. It's taken. You take leadership. Right. Money is meant to be led. It was never meant for us to follow, chase, or be in bondage of. Right. So we now today with revolutionary new things, because things are always changing, and when people ask, amazing things show up. And I'm going to say that was the driver for me for the creation of the money education movement. So young women like you get to change, revolutionize the history for your generations and generations to come. But I equally get to do that right now for myself and for you. So we get to walk hand in hand, arm in arm, really together, leading together, because we don't have to do it that way. And we get to go through the open pathways that are already there, those opportunities, and we get to see them. And that's what I find so amazing. So I don't know if you could do it in a short phrase, but how would you describe the money education movement? How would you describe this weekend? It's to surmise it, I know is challenging because I don't know. I would love to hear some.
Oh my gosh. Like there's a short phrase doesn't do it justice, but I do think that like just life changing is the only way. Like it really is the only way to say it. And granted, like it will change your life if you allow it to change your life. Like if you show up and like you come open-minded and you do the work and like you commit to the change, like that's how it's going to change your life. Like before the boot camp, I never even like dreamed of owning my own house. I honestly did not dream of owning my own house because I just felt so buried in debt with just no way of, I was so far down. I didn't even realize how far down I was, that I just could not see any light, like at all, you know? And I think that that's so many people, especially of my generation, that we don't even bother to like truly, truly, truly chase a dream like that. We could talk about it, but when it comes to actually feeling like it can be achieved, I did not feel that way. And I left the boot camp. Literally, I've never claimed it before, but I was like, I'm going to own my dream house. Like, I will. Like, I'm going to pay off all my debt. Like, my sisters are going to own their dream house. Like, my mom's going to be fine. Like, when she retires, like, it's going to be okay. And so I think just like, even it's that hope that's so necessary. And I think it's really just like that hope and like, just literally, like you said, taking the rocks out of that backpack. That's exactly what that boot camp did for me in the most life-changing way. And like, I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of it, especially the first class. Oh, I'm so happy.
I loved having you there. And what I'm hearing you say is, when we are ready, we get to put our priorities in order for every possibility to come into fruition. And it really just starts with our simple steps of being open, connecting, being ready to connect with other people, sharing, like I'm going to say the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So that this way we can come out on the other side of it to dream again as if we were little girls, right? The 5-year-old, the 12-year-old, or whatever age was your favorite age. Make those we get to make those possibilities happen. And when we band together, it's like when one of us wins,
we all win.
We all win. We all win when we level up. I love seeing people that are joyous, happy, and free. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your perspective on how we're getting to create this shift around having connected conversations from generation to generations around them. And I just adore you. And I'm so super excited that you were here with us tonight.
Love being here. Love talking to you.
We'll get to share more as we learn. We'll just maybe share bits and pieces of the movement so that people can learn to get more of those bits and pieces, at least step by step. Definitely. Here on the Breakthrough, the Taboo Talk, the Connected Conversations. All right. Thank you so much, Kristen, and thank you, audience. And we wish you all a good night, and we pray that we all get to flourish together.
Amen.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.